It's about time we start taking the Oklahoma City Thunder pretty damn seriously after they took Game 1 of the NBA Western Conference Finals against the Golden State Warriors 108-102. There was a lot that happened during that game. Russell Westbrook had a cold shooting streak to open the game, but lit up the third quarter. Kevin Durant couldn't hit anything until he needed to hit just one, pretty much to ice the game, which he did. The officiating has consistently been pretty bad throughout the entire playoffs on both the Eastern and Western Conference Finals, at least playoffs sides. It's consistently been bad, at least, is what I would say. And now that the Thunder have taken 3 road games, 2 from the Spurs, 1 from the Warriors, they now have matched the total amount of losses that the Warriors and Spurs had during the regular season at home combined. Yes, they are here. No, they are not the underdog anymore. They are now favorites to win the series with a 52% chance. So the Warriors back against the wall. Francis.
Russell Westbrook, man, you just can't talk highly enough of the guy because there is something to be said about someone who is shooting a little bit cold in the opening, but is still willing to take that shot. You always make the comparison between Kobe and Michael Jordan and these guys that say you want to take that shot. You must take that shot. And then when it came to the third quarter and he lit it up, 19 points. Not just his scoring, the steals. Obviously, I think it broke his own.
7 steals.
7 steals in that quarter. Rebounding as well. And that's my main point that I wanted to highlight straight forward from this game is that OKC have a sense of anticipation. They trust their teammates, right? Because this is what Charles Barkley was talking about. He was talking about if Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook are able to use Adams and able to use Kanter and Dion Waiters, they can go on and win this series. He actually predicted they'd go on and win it in 6. And who's going to argue back with them after that? And it's that anticipation that all of their, throughout their starting 5, whoever's on the court, they anticipate worst case scenarios. That sounds a little off, but watch the game back. Golden State do not anticipate the worst case scenarios because they've been trained to absorb brilliance. So when Steph Curry's shooting, they're like, fuck yes, another 3-pointer, no problem. When Klay Thompson's shooting, oh, it's another 3-pointer, no problem. When Golden State went cold and they missed, I think, their 8 3-point attempts in a row, not one offensive rebound was obtained by Golden State because they just watched and they thought this is going in. Watch what happened when Kevin Durant was on his cold streak. Kanter was in there. Adams was in there. Offensive rebounds in order to give them a second chance to get it back out to Russell Westbrook or get it back out to Waiters or whoever else was taking the shot. It's not a problem if you don't anticipate that your best player is going to make the shot. That's what good players do. They anticipate the worst case so that if it does happen, you're there to capitalize. That is what OKC did in the third and fourth quarter. And I think it was so stand out to me. I was surprised that not a lot of people picked up. They were just talking about how Russell Westbrook changed the game. Yes, he changed it along with Kanter and Adams, who were phenomenal in those final parts of that game. You're
right and you're wrong on specific parts of that. Yes, OKC was dominant on the offensive rebounding, and they were on the whole rebounding battle, which if you watch the broadcast, keys to the game, rebounding. It's like one of the few times I've ever seen the keys to the game actually be like correct via a graphic on any pregame show. It's like because when they do keys to the game, it's like, well, if you could stop OKC from getting to the rim with penetration, and if you can stop the Golden State Warriors from shooting threes, no shit. Like it doesn't take a genius to figure that out. But one of the things is because Kanter and Adams are bigs, and Golden State plays small ball lineups that worked all through winning a championship last year. And granted, I know that they didn't have the matchups with the bigs that the Cavs had in the championship, the finals from last year. But going through this postseason and the regular season, their small ball lineup with that offensive rating has been dominant. So when they are running a small ball lineup, the floor is spread out. They're looking for those threes. But you're right, they were gunning for threes that they didn't necessarily need. And usually, at least during the regular season and some of this playoffs, when the Warriors are in that situation, they find other ways. They try to penetrate the paint. They try to get to the rim at least more effectively. Instead, they kept firing threes as if they were up to ice the game when they were down by 5, 6, 2, 3 possession game. And that's what was strange. And that's where you're 100% right. But the reason for the offensive rebounding was because they just don't have big enough guys. Although Draymond Green should have been in there more.
That's what I was going to say.
At least fighting for the rebounds.
You usually see Draymond in there because, as you highlight as well, the ball movement is as good as the Spurs when the Spurs were moving the ball as well. And it's because they're able to find those shots. Now, I understand Steph Curry can make... I mean, his shot that he made over Cantor, again, was one of the most insane shots I've ever seen. He dribbled left, shot right over a 7-footer. That's just... You shouldn't be able to do that, but...
He went off the backboard.
But that's what I'm saying, Jason, is that I think that they're relying too much on the absurdity of their players' shooting percentage and the absurdity of those shots. So when I seen, specifically in the fourth quarter, they had a turnover. Golden State were able to obtain the ball. It was a quick breakaway. Steph Curry lobbed this half-court pass to Klay Thompson in the corner. He was off balance and he missed the shot. No one even to contest it.
Because I know what you're saying. There's four OKC. There's 4 blue jerseys right there.
No. And that's where I may be off base, but the way I'm trying to break down this game is I'm trying to figure out the similarities between the sports that I know well, because I feel like there's such a major crossover. That's why I'm doing clips talking about Steph and Messi, because it's not rocket science when you can see what OKC were doing. Is that, yes, when Russell Westbrook was taking those shots in the opening parts of the game, the OKC weren't rebounding, and they were down. They were down by, I think, 13 at half, and that was evident. But then when Russell Westbrook started to make them, it was as if he said, okay, I'm going to make as many as I can, but if I don't, Cantor, Adams, get your ass in there and work for those rebounds.
Yeah, no, so Billy Donovan has found something tremendous with this lineup. Me and Andre talked about this yesterday, too, with the preview. How could the Warriors win this series? Well, that's a big part of it. Steven Adams is playing some of the best basketball of his life, and he's playing great defense. Cantor, who at times still during that game had a negative plus-minus through about 3 quarters because of his defensive inefficiencies, played better defense down the stretch. And look, when it's a close game, to me, plus-minus doesn't mean like crap if you find a way to win that game. With Cantor on the floor, they found a way to win that game, and that's in Golden State. Now, there's one play, again, that everyone's going to look back at, and that's Russell Westbrook's obvious travel. And there's no argument. Like, I've seen some of the reaction. I know people are going to comment, well, his foot, well, Klay fouled him. That's what I find so amazing is Shaq says they never call that travel. No. The travels they don't call are the shuffling the feet inside the paint. They don't call Kevin Durant's travel when he made, I thought, actually one of the most beautiful moves. Granted, he did take 3.5 steps. Still, Kevin Durant made a beautiful move at the top of the key. It was to make it 95-93, I believe.
Yeah.
But Russell Westbrook traveled that call, and the refs missed it. And like Real GM and a bunch of other sites mentioned, we're going to see that Russ Westbrook walk in the report tomorrow, and it's going to be in the report later today. But at the same time, they missed a lot of calls. They missed calls in Oklahoma City. They missed calls in the Warriors throughout that whole game. One of the calls they actually got right, and then people started to, throw it back towards, well, because they missed Westbrook's travel, they called Westbrook for a lane violation. Yeah. No, the rule is so simple.
Yeah.
As a shooter, you can't step over the line. He stepped over the line, which, by the way, once again shows how unbelievably athletic Russell Westbrook is, because he made one... he put half his foot over that line and jumped at the rim and grabbed the board by himself, and I thought he was going to dunk it.
But that's anticipation of his own. He's anticipating something that...
Well, you have an advantage from that angle,
yeah, of course, and you're not, and that's why that rule's in place. But, Jason, there's one thing I wanted to finish on this. This is why I'm loving the NBA this season. Look, listen to some of these stats. Right, Kevin Durant finished 10 of 30 from the field. It's not good shooting for someone like Kevin Durant. It wasn't good shooting in certain parts of the game from Russell Westbrook. It wasn't good shooting from Golden State to miss 8 consecutive 3-points. That was both teams not playing anywhere near their best. And look how entertaining that game was.
Yeah.
Imagine what it's going to be like if we get a similar game to what we had in the regular season with this new lease of confidence which OKC have. Because when Steph Curry sunk that ridiculous 3-point in the game that I think he hit 13 3-points. Was it 3-point when they beat them regular season?
Oh, in the regulars when you said yeah. I thought you meant in that game.
That was entertaining. I think that was OKC being reckless. They were trying to go at Golden State and try and play them at their own game, being aggressive and trying to hit them back. Whereas this game, I think they're being smarter.
That's the best point. You can't, and this is I think what Max Kellerman was saying too. You can't overextend in boxing. If you overextend, you're going to leave yourself open to get knocked out. Amir Khan overextended and got knocked out, right?
Yeah.
Many boxers overextend and get knocked out. The Thunder, if they overextend, the Warriors are going to rip their soul from them. And they're going to drain threes, and they're going to find ways in transition to score and score and score. The Thunder played their game. Thunder played their game. Golden State didn't play theirs. No. Golden State overextended. And when you give Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, and yes, Cantor, Adams, Dion Waiters,
by the way.
who played phenomenal basketball.
10 points.
Making the joke. He had 4 assists, too. I was making the joke. Who replaced number 3 on the Oklahoma City
Pass the
Thunder
ball.
with a guy who likes to dish out the ball? Tremendous. Roberson, great play from him, too. Billy Donovan's found something with this lineup and this team. And, of course, when you have 2 of the top 5 best players in the league, in Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, yeah, at this point, I'm sold they can win. After all of that, I still think the Warriors do it in 7.
That's why we love it.
I predicted the Warriors in 7. I want to see the Warriors in 7 because I predicted it. It means all of the Warriors are going to go to shit, and the Thunder are going to clean sweep.
Mate, I can't sit here on a high horse. I predicted the Spurs were going to sweep OKC. I remember that. And
Wait, that's right. So did Skip Bayless. And I forgot we have his tweet. Let's take a look real quick. Because this is pretty funny. Not sure the Thunder can win a single game against the Warriors. And that's Kantar.
Sorry,
my man.
Nice.
I love it so much. Comment below with your thoughts on Oklahoma City versus the Golden State Warriors. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and all the good stuff. It's in the description box below.